Hello, everybody. Great afternoon, early afternoon, because time went forward. If you're like me, you're trying to get adjusted to everything that's going on. I know you're probably like, when I found out that I was doing a Tuesday tune in today, I even had my family like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be on, it's today, it's supposed to be on Tuesday. Guys, we're doing a special edition. I did not want to put off any longer with you all getting the information. Um, Yesterday was my birthday. And so I didn't, as much as I wanted to get on, I just couldn't. I was so tired because we went out of town and we're coming back. So I thank you so much for your patience in joining us today. So, yes, this is a special Wednesday edition of the Tuesday Tune In that we normally do. But I have this great and special guest on here to when you guys look, I think you see him to my right. I have Mr. Lamont Watson, who is the branch manager for the Columbia Irmo location of Guild Mortgage. Hey, Lamont, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Angelina. Thank you for having me on your day after your born day. I hope you continue to celebrate many, many more.
Thank you so very much. Guys, oh my goodness, Lamont was the one who introduced me to the. If you guys ever go to Blue Marlin here in Columbia, the first time we met, he was like, "Okay, let's meet for lunch." I was like, "Okay, yeah, it's fine." So we're sitting down at the table, and I'm like, "Well, Lamont, it was my first time there." I'm like, "Well, Lamont, what are you gonna get?" He was like, "Angie, I'm getting the chef special." What is it? It was meatloaf over mashed potatoes and collard greens, and I'm like, they making collard greens here. For those who don't know, I'm originally from Greenwood, South Carolina. I'm from the country. I know collard greens. Okay. And so I was like, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna get this. So I'm thinking like, okay, I'm up here meeting. He gonna have me eat these collard greens, but I'm gonna eat them. If not, I just put some hot sauce or something on there, vinegar on there. Guys, they were the best collard greens ever. It was so good. The meatloaf was good. The mashed potatoes were good. The collard greens were good.
It
So
was.
if you
It
guys ever
was.
go to Blue Marlin, that's the meal to get. On top of everything else that they have.
Can't go wrong.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it was so good. All right. Well, so what we want to talk about today, guys, Lamont and I have actually worked with. I have. Oh my gosh, I've been in the business 12 years. I probably have known Lamont all 12 years that I've been in real estate. Lamont has actually done some personal loans for me, as well as some for my family members, a lot of friends, and a lot of clientele. And so, what he has some great things that he was talking to me about that's actually getting started today. To my understanding, Lamont, this is your first time bringing it out here to people.
It is. It's the promise of home. I'll just tell you a little bit about me and then
Okay.
what I do. I've been in the business. She said 12 years for her, it's 20 years for me, 13 years here at Guild Mortgage Company. We're a direct lender, which means that I have the loan programs of the big banks, but the sole and flexibility of a credit union. So, what does that mean for you, with the consumer? That means with all my experience, my staff, my expertise, I'm able to fit the box to you. How many times have you gone and thought about getting maybe a home, a second home, and you get a little discouraged? Well, you got to find a professional, someone who understands and meets you where you are. And that's where I focus. Uh, as far as the promise of home, what we're talking about is the ability to not only get into a home today, but to take that home and make it generational wealth. We know that there are challenges right now. It's not so much affordability, it is attainability, and it's to get
Mhm.
the home. And when you look at South Carolina, where we are in the housing market, the data has shown, according to December of 2024, according to U-Haul, South Carolina is the number one destination for one-way rentals. What does that
Mhm.
mean for you? That means that it's still affordable and attainable. The average first-time homebuyer price in the United States, according to Freddie Mac, is $440,000. And yes, that is, I said it correctly, $440,000. In South Carolina, the average first time home buyer price is $240,000. And that's the Columbia market. Now, you do have the Greenville, you do have Charleston, which definitely
Yes.
throws those numbers up. But the dream of home ownership is still real and it's attainable. And I have to tell people just a little bit of my story is I bought my first house in 2001, and I'm on my fifth house in 2025. You got to start somewhere. Now, my first house was not my forever home. And I hear this from a lot of clients. Hey, Lamont, I'd like to buy my forever home. Well, you got to start somewhere. Now, that first house I bought was like 140,000. I looked it up. Same house. The house didn't change sizes. They didn't add on to it. That house now is worth like 350,000. So when you look at it, you got to build your foundation and get your stepping stones. Buy the first house. Take the money out of it because it's going to sell. The rule is, when's the best time to plant an apple tree? It was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And when you look at the statistics, people say, oh, I'm going to wait until the interest rates go down. It's the value of the house. You got to
Yes.
get in there. So it's easier to buy it now if you can afford it and then refinance. Because the beauty is that is the highest interest rate or the highest payment you're ever going to pay, because you don't have to do it. But when it goes down, you refinance it. Remember what I told you, that South Carolina is the number one place that people are coming to. The average appreciation, which is the value of the house versus what you owe in the United States in 2024, was 6.6%. In South Carolina, it was 11.7%, which means we're still going up. So if you bought a house last year for $200,000, that house is worth $225,000 this year. They
Can,
expect it to go up
sorry,
15% this year. Go ahead.
can you do that? Can you say that one more time? Because that's the key that people have to understand. For everybody who's like, I don't want to pay this, I don't want to do this, or I need to wait. I need you to repeat that one more time as far as what the appreciation is. And then I want to then go into what the appreciation is for the rent that they pay.
Absolutely. So when you look at it, I'm going to redo that. The average appreciation in South Carolina last year was 11.7%, which means if you bought a house for $200,000, today that house would be worth $223,000. In the same token, if you were renting and you paid $1,500 in rent last year, you paid your landlord $18,000. When you walk away, he tells you goodbye, thank you. Here's the possibility of getting your deposit back. And I get this from a lot of young people. I get this from a lot of people that all they really know is generationally rent. Well, you're paying a mortgage, you're just paying the benefits to somebody else. So what you want to know is, what are those benefits? Well, the benefits are, when you do leave, you get that money back. So when you are paying for it, the balance is going down. You've made money on it while you're sleeping. A same thing about it is you end up with tax breaks. You can't write off rent, but you can write off mortgages. Also,
Mhm.
you own it, meaning that you get to put things on it. You get to add to it. You get to bring value to it. You get to paint it the way you want. If you like psychedelic blue in your den and you like hot pink in your dining room, you get to do that. Nobody has to tell you what to do. This is something that you get to own and that you get to pass on. It is proven that if you own your home, you are 3 times more likely to have generational wealth. You heard me? 3 times more likely. Now, my grandmother lives in where I grew up. She has been in her house for 68 years. Her daddy built that for her in 1968. So, don't, looking at the math, she's never had a mortgage on her house. But that house, it cost them about $3,000. And everybody says, oh, well, she bought it back then. Things were different. Yeah, wages were 50 cents a day. And she got milk and bread for 3 cents. We don't do
Mm.
that today. But what has happened is that house now is worth about $600,000. So when she goes to sell it, that's an investment. And that's what you have to look at. She has invested in that house. She's kept that house up. She has given it. And when she either passes it on or she wants to sell it, she can do whatever she wants to do. Take the house. Go ahead, Angie.
No, that's what people don't understand. My motto, people always ask, when's the best time to move to buy? My motto is if you can get approved, you need to move. I've been saying that for the last 12 years. If you can get approved, you need to move. And especially to my young people who feel that, oh, it's not time, I need to get settled in, or that's going to be a huge, responsibility. If you're able to pay your rent, you're able to pay a mortgage. And we have to get, like you say, get in the mindset of home owning. You know, we've been so used. I have to even catch myself. My oldest would be 20, and so now I'm getting into the, everybody's, one in college, two, about to be a junior in high school, one going to high school, and you start having that talk about them making their moves. I have to get out of, oh, well, you go find your apartment to rent and this. Now, like, no, we go find something to purchase. Find you something to purchase. Find you something to purchase. That's what I'm because we're so used to just automatically assuming, okay, I'm moving out on my own. It's time for me to go find something to rent. No. You need
So
to
let me tell
find
you
you something
this.
to purchase.
Absolutely, because your first house could be your investment property. That could be giving you generational wealth. God gives us the gift, the opportunity to live a long life. I don't want to work for forever. I'd let that house work for me. So the
Exactly.
beauty of it is that, and I'm going to tell you this, according to Freddie Mac, we're 4 million houses short because I hear this all the time. I'll wait till house prices coming down. They're not coming down. There's 4
No.
million people that we don't have we have a housing shortage. There's not enough houses for the amount of people that are in there that are living right now. So I'm going to wait till the rates come down. Great. 90% of you are doing that. So let's do simple supply and demand. 4 million people, not enough houses, rates come down to 2%. What happens? The value of
It's
houses keep go up. You're now competing against everybody else. And so they're going to do what happened in 2022. They go above market value, which then rises the prices up. So the best opportunity now is for you to be able to go ahead, get in your house. So when that does happen, because it's a cycle, it's going to happen, rates eventually will come down. You can do what? Refinance to a lower rate. Because if you wait till the rates go up, it may cost you $100,000 more, and you're going to be paying more money. So $100,000 more is roughly about, let's do the math, 600 bucks more.
$100 more. Yeah.
600 bucks more a month. So the reality is, if you can get into a home today, it is one of the best investments. We all see what the stock market's doing right now. It's tanking a little bit. We're going into a recession. Warren Buffett says, when people are fearful, that's when you buy. When people are greedy, that's when you need to watch out. This is the best time and best opportunity to buy today. Because at the end of the day, the beauty about owning a home is you get to plant your flag. It gives your family a better opportunity to say, okay, we're good to go. And there's a lot of people that are saying, all right, I wish I had bought. I wish. The cost of everything is going to continue to go up. The reality is that you're fixed in. Once you get your fixed rate, you're paying for your house, you're getting your payments. And let's say that the going payment right now is $1,500 on your mortgage. Well, that's awesome because in 3 years, the going payment might be $2,500 on rent, and you're still paying $1,500 on your mortgage. And the value of your house is still going up. So that's one thing you can't do in an apartment. You can't borrow against it. If things get
Nope.
tight and you own your house, you can refinance and you can get a lower rate. But you also can say, you know what? I have $50,000 in there. I'd like to get some of that to do some other things I want to do in life. That is the advantage that you get to do by home ownership.
And those are things that people don't think about. When you get behind, you hit some sort of type of financial, hardship. When you get behind on your rent, there's really no recourse except for you to move out. Or what some people do is they file bankruptcy, to stop the court proceedings. And that only happens for so long. You can ask for continuances and things of that nature. But when you do have a home, and like what he's stating, you can be able to tap into that equity at that time to help yourself out. They have certain programs. A lot of people unfortunately had to take, when COVID happened, a lot of them had to take advantage of the COVID, um, um, oh gosh, the COVID programs that were available. And then even after the moratorium ended, they still had things that they did to assist those homeowners. A lot of people that might have had to take that during rent, when it was over with, those landlords, guess what they were doing? They were spiking those prices up, which they had to, because again, even though, the COVID ended, property taxes still went up, other expenses still went up. And so a lot of people didn't have a recourse for not, when they did not own. And so now we're getting a lot of the people like, oh my goodness, because guys, here in South Carolina, the property taxes are different for when you have investment properties versus when you own. And so these investors are having to do certain things to compensate that, because there's nothing they can be able to do in regards to that, but they go to you and they say, hey, it's time to increase that rent. And it's just important, and it's just better for you when you have a home a home that you're owning, assets. And even with putting money down, like we have to talk to people all the time, like, well, I don't want to put all that money in the house. I want to see it in the bank, but it's not getting you anything in the bank. Your home is technically kind of almost like your bank. The difference is we just talked about how it appreciated for 11.11%. How much do you get in dividends from the bank for the money that you put in there? Those are the things you have to think about when you're looking at home ownership and the value of it. I mean, that's crazy that your grandmother has this house now that her dad built for her, and now it's worth $600,000. You're $400,000 shy from $1 million.
And
But you can take that. Yeah, look, don't go and sell it.
No. If you can get it, keep it.
I am. Let me get off this right quickly. Call my grandmother. But seriously, you're 400 grand shy from $1 million. And think about what you could do with that, for your lineage, for your children, for things you want to do as far as with your family. It's just amazing, and when you really truly take a step back and look back at what the benefits are in home ownership, it really, really, you get excited about it. So that's why when I hear agents, bark about, oh, don't buy a house, the interest rates are high. I'm like, okay, you honestly don't know what home ownership means. Because if you do, you wouldn't even be worried about the interest rates. You would be talking to your clients about, okay, yes, we have high interest rates, but we can get to a payment of where you need to be at. There's certain programs that may be available for you. It's still obtainable to get a house, and so if we can't speak to the benefits, and what I mean, we as the industry can speak to the benefits of home ownership, it's our job to inform, not to instill fear.
Absolutely. And according to Fannie Mae, in the next 5 years, 44% of all of the home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, will have some sort of down payment assistance programs. So they're going to have that, and that's they're there to help you. Like, I don't know of a down payment assistance to help you to get into an apartment, but your housing authorities, the county authorities, national authorities, banks, they are actually helping you with the down payment. Now, there's a myth. Most people, I put it in the chat, how much do you think you have to put down to be able to buy a house?
I'm going to tell you, does anybody, we've been having people talking and speaking to us. Anybody in the chat want to know? Put an answer in. We had someone saying something about buying a shack in Russia. I don't know. I'm monitoring Instagram and stuff, and they was like, at this point, just buy a shack in Russia. Hey, we help with international loans too if you want to buy a shack in Russia too.
Well, the beauty is, the rumor is 20%. You can get in a house as little as 3 to 3.5% down. So on a $200,000 house, that's $7,000. So on a $300,000 house, that's $10,500. In South Carolina, there's a housing program for first-time homebuyers that gives you $10,000. So let's look at that. If you can qualify, that's your down payment. That takes care of it. So you're $500 into it, and you get a wonderful agent like Angelina. She negotiates on your behalf with the seller. You can get into a house today for almost $500 or less. So it's not that it's improbable. You just have to have the right team that puts things together and helps you get into a house. And I'm glad somebody said that about the shack in Russia. Let's talk about the shacks, because I do see that a lot. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Get the fixer-upper. The beauty is, and I'm going to announce this is, and this has been announced recently, that the FHA loan, which is the Federal Housing Administration, offers two types of loans. It's the 203B, which means that you move in. Hey, everything's where it needs to be. I'm signing for my papers and I can move in today. Then there's the 203K. Don't ask me why they call it a K, but that's their construction loan. So a little bit of spelling there. But the 203K loan allows you to purchase a property and rehab it. Here's what they did on the change on that. So you can finance the rehab, but let's say that you need to go ahead and really upgrade it and rehab it. They allow you to finance up to 12 months of the payments while it's being rehabbed. You heard me. You can go buy a house, put 3.5% down of the total acquisition plus the construction costs and rehab it. There are a lot of houses out there that are meet every criteria except they're dated. Nobody wants to live in the shaggy carpet right now. You want the barnyard doors, you want to get the tile, you want to get the granite countertops. Well, if you can negotiate that, it's a little bit hard, like you said, to obtain the house, but if you could obtain it and finance it and move it into the right property, the right area, you're looking at 3.5% and having that finance while being constructed. You heard me. Yes,
Really?
you can do that. So yes, that is a thing that can be done. You have to have the right team that can do that. There's down payment assistance programs for single wides, double wides. So yes, I can help you get to 100% financing of the acquisition using those property types. Some people don't want to live in the city. They don't want to live in the burbs. They wanted to go out a little bit in rural because that's where it is. And my father told me years ago, he said, it's okay. You got to be a visionary. And what I mean by visionary, go 10 to 15 miles outside the city limits because eventually, the way growth is going, your house will be into the middle of the city and you would have bought it at an affordable time.
I just put
I,
that on. I don't know if you see it.
mhm,
Down payment
I do.
single and double wise, guys. And here's the thing: where we're at in my areas that we also service, like in the Fort Mill, Chester, upstate areas where you want land. That's the thing. Everybody wants land. That is awesome that you are now doing that because. And here's the question I want to ask because I don't hear that a lot of those companies that those mobile home companies are providing down payment assistance. And so they can take that from you and go to a Clayton Homes and an Oakwood Homes to be able to do the purchase and things of that nature. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah. So once again, the dream of home ownership is a reality, but without a plan, it's just a wish. You have to speak to a lender. You have to speak to someone and say, here's where I am. We're not looking to tell you no. We're looking to develop strategies, plans, and then it's up to you to go ahead and put it together and say, all right, he gave me the plan. What am I going to do to get there? A lot of you are already where you need to be in order to get there. You just don't know it. Have somebody. Don't be afraid. Taking the first step is the hardest step.
It is. And the thing is you don't, and the thing I tell people is that you don't necessarily have to have a plan. If you don't know what to do, that was why it's important for everyone to, go through and just look and see what you need to do. Don't be afraid. Look at your budget, look at your credit, allow us to look at your credit so that way we can be able to assist you in what it is you need to do. If you, in your dream home, and I get everybody wants a dream home. There's nothing wrong with a dream home. But let me tell you, guys, I done sold a lot of dream home people and they done called me in 2 years. And they need to move because your situations change. It might be your dream home for the beginning. You wanted this huge 5,000 square foot home, and then you got to clean it. And then you got to furnish it. And then you got to maintain it. And then you look at it like, well, man, my kids have left the house. Somebody's got to go upstairs and use the restroom so the piping doesn't get rusted out or worn down. Okay, this was my dream home, but now I need something smaller. Or end up getting a dream job that requires you to move. Guys, I promise you, you want to stick with what your daily routines are at the moment. If you always continuously buy for tomorrow, you will never find your perfect home. Go off of what you're looking for today, what you need for your family. What do you like to do? Do you like to entertain? Do you like to cook? Not, well, I would like to entertain. Like I had some people, I want this huge backyard. I was like, oh, okay, what you like to do outside? Oh, I don't like going outside. Like, well, why you get this huge house? I mean, this huge yard. Go off of what it is that you need, not for what you want to tell your family you got or the neighbors can see what you have. You want to buy off of what it is that is important to you. Then that way you won't feel the pressure, because the reality of houses are higher. When I started, the average home was $160,000. Now you're 240. You used to be able to get a brand new house for 160 easily. Now the brand new homes are, anywhere 200,000. So, don't put the pressure on yourself. Don't try to think that you have to come up with everything. You don't have to do the 20%. You don't have to do the 10, the 5%. He just gave you a program to where we literally talked about $500. And so we might have said, let me get that $160,000 price point. Hey, I could get you that $160,000 high price point, but it's going to require probably some updating depending how you want it looked at. But again, he just talked about the construction loan of what you could be able to do, and also finance it, 12 months. So
Yeah,
we could
finance the repairs up to 12 months. I've done all of it. I bought a first-time house. I've built a new house. I've done the construction loan. So I've done all of it. Every one of them requires a different set of rules, but every house, I can say this, I've never took a loss on. I've had a lot of memories in them, and every single one, I was able to take the money and like, oh, okay, let's go and let's do what we need to do. Don't get stuck on, as Angelina said, where you want to go ahead today. You got to figure out what life looks like, because life changes. People get married, people get divorced, people go in as the honeymoon and they come out with 3 or 4 kids. So the beauty is, instead of renting and paying somebody else's mortgage, take that money that you've got, whether or not you're 3 to 5 years. Well, oh, I'm only going to be here 2 years. Good. If you're 2 days, you're in a house, you got to put your head somewhere. But would you rather walk away with something in your pocket? In the last 40 years, house prices have gone down 2 times. 2008 and it was back in the 90s. So I have to look at it. And a lot of people, the difference is you are now competing with the big companies because their neighborhoods, which I've never seen in my 20 years, that are coming in and they're being built to rent. So it is about the home ownership. So you really want to take an opportunity to grow.
They are, and they're catering to these investors. Right before I went on vacation, we locked in one and for someone building their portfolio. And the thing is that we had to rush in just to get it for that investor, because they're not coming in buying one; they're coming in buying rows. And so that's why you can't get caught up in what the news states, guys, because the millionaires, they're still buying. They're still buying these homes, and guess what they're doing? They're making money and generational wealth off their family, for their families, off of renting to our families. So you got to go ahead and jump in and get that. We do have a question, Lamont.
Which we got?
One of the questions we got, I don't know if you can see the screen, but it says, what about buying beach homes or homes on an island? So do you have any loans or any information you could be able to get for that?
Absolutely. The beauty is, if you have a beach home and it's your primary residence, one that you will occupy majority of your time, we have loans for that. But if you wanted to buy it as a second home and maybe you want to go ahead and Airbnb it or vacation it out, there are programs for that. Now, those you just they're an investment. And I did see that where someone says you want to buy it on an island. As long as there is a bridge to go to that island, no problem. So there's Daniel Island down in Charleston. There's Hilton Head Island. Those people buy homes all the time. The beauty is those are areas that typically, depending on, they're recession proof, meaning that when things get tight, what do people do? They want to get to an escape. So those are really good investments because people want to escape. One of the things during COVID was we had to be isolated. So if I'm going to be isolated, do I want to be isolated in the house or apartment that I'm in now? No. Most people were going down to the beach and then say, I'll be isolated out here amongst an amenity. It never hurts to be able to buy a house in those areas.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, Charleston, Do you know what the average price point in Charleston, South Carolina is? It's the highest price point right now.
It's
Charleston is like
5.
9. That's Somerville, and that's 20 miles in. The average price point for a value for a house in Mount Pleasant is 1.2 million. Sullivan's Island's 4 million, and Isle of Palms is $6 million. They don't go. That's the one thing God's not making more of. They're not making more land. And if you can get in the beach where the ocean is, the values are going to continue to go there. 50
We just
people a day.
got, we
I'd
just
like
got
an
some
island. Hook me up.
Look, I'm about to go down there and sell it. Come on, I'll sell it to you because when you just said for $1 million, but you're right because I work in the Charleston area, and oh my goodness, like when I have people and guys, he's saying those prices you can still be able to get in the average 250. Got to come a little bit inland though. Got to come probably like 30,
Yeah.
40 miles in. But it's possible. But he's right. It did not stop at all because we literally, we bought a house down in Charleston, and literally it sold over 100 grand and within 9 months. It was crazy. So, but that's the thing. We have a lot of people and companies coming down here.
Right.
You have the Volvo plant down there. You got Bowen. You have Sherwin-Williams. There's another plant that's coming down that way too that they're building. And guys, for my people that are here in the Columbia Blythewood area, with Scott Properties and Scott Motors coming, that's going to bring on a lot of other companies. If you don't think these companies are not watching what's going on here, they are. You already have Google and Apple bringing their companies and their home offices to Durham in that area. I work in that area.
RTP.
It's crazy how they're doing in that area. They're also coming down a little bit south here. And so you're going to start seeing the properties coming. I mean, the companies coming in Greenville. Oh, somebody just mentioned Train. They're bringing their offices here. You have to keep that stuff in mind and what that's doing. For those of you all who already have homes, is taking that value up. But also for those of you all who have not gotten a home yet, you need to go ahead and do it because you're going to be competing with people who are coming from these states where they sold their house and it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was $1 million. They can buy that same square footage home over here for $300,000 and pocket $700,000. What do you think? What would you do if you was coming from somewhere where the same house you could get for 300 grand that you paid for? And here's the thing: the companies are moving them here. So this is what we're competing against. So if you think that when interest rates go down, it'll be fine. No, I worked through that, and Lamont did too. And let me tell you, I was averaging writing about 20 plus contracts for each client to get in the house.
Oh yeah. I can remember when things would come up, there would be a line across the street, like the first day, and you might be in there, and you might be the 8th person in. They've already got 7 contracts, like literally.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So when you said that, I just a little background about me. I grew up, born in Columbia, raised in Charleston, went to Clemson, moved to North Carolina, back to Columbia. So I happened to be in Charleston pre-Boeing, and I remember what the prices were then. When Boeing came, I saw the explosion of values of everything. Went to Clemson when BMW came to Spartanburg. Saw Spartanburg and Greer just explode and Greenville explode. So when you said that about Scout, when Scout opens, understand this: Scout will be a company where, they're going to be having 4,000 jobs there. The average income of an individual is going to be about 85,000. So you're going to have people that can afford, and they're going to start coming in, but they're bringing people from all over the place that are going to be here. Well, that 4,000 jobs is at the plant. They're supposed to have 36,000 other jobs that are going to be auxiliary to support that plant. So if you go up I-77, the one area I think is still affordable today is Fairfield County. Yeah. Fairfield has some of the lower taxes. It is right next to the Richland, Blythewood area where things are. A lot of people are like, I did not want to go to Fairfield. But if you can get into Fairfield now, and then when things go, everything's going that way. Once again, I grew up in Charleston and Mount Pleasant, and I remember when Somerville was an outpost. Now Somerville is Nexton. I don't know what Nexton is. It's just one side, but they just changed the name, and all of a sudden, everything now has gone through the roof on the cost. So if you can get in today, Columbia is like getting in to Charleston before Boeing hit and before BMW hit Spartanburg. It will happen.
And I remember when they changed to Nexton, because that's when we purchased, and it was crazy down there. And that's when they started bringing Cane Bay, which is this huge, and they're bringing like these huge pod neighborhoods where everything is right there. It's gorgeous down there for one, but it's still accelerated. It's still growing. It's guys. These are the things about home ownership that we need to be talking about, of how you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about home ownership. True Number Deed is going to be a personal thing for you, for your personal place where you live at, but it's also a business transaction. It's probably the biggest business transactions you'll ever do, whether you're in business or not. That's what you are doing when you're purchasing a home too. And so these things matter. And so you either want to get in on the front end while you can take advantage of it. We're getting info. We're getting two people. Somebody from Instagram said it was great info. And then also someone speaking to you saying, hi, Lamont, great info, Angie. Thank you so much, Brandy.
Hey, Brandy.
And so, yeah. And so these are things that people just don't think about. And so there are programs here, guys, to help you to get into these markets. And we're talking about, we service all these markets that we're speaking in reference to, just to let you know. Lamont, you also service North Carolina, correct? Is it
North Carolina and Georgia? Yes, I do service the neighboring states.
Those three neighboring states that he does service. I service North Carolina up to a certain part. Somebody did ask me if I go to New Bern, that's like 5 hours away. I can't really go that far. My body won't allow go that far. But I do go into the Raleigh area and of course the Charlotte, Charleston, Rock Hill, which is still growing. The Rock Hill area is still growing. But guys, they have houses there, because I'm having a lot of people now, Lamont, they're trying to get into that Charleston downtown, but guys, they're building up Clover, they're building up York County, they're building up Troutman, they're building all these areas in that particular area that allows you to still have great accessibility to the Charlotte area. So I'm telling you, there's so much out there that's available for you. And they're building the towns around that, so you don't have to worry about driving all the way to get to somewhere to go to a Walmart and things. They're making it to where it's accessible to everyone. Guys, it's just amazing about what's going on, and you need to get in on it. And you don't need to wait until it starts getting in. You got to get in before it starts happening, like what he stated. That's smart what you talked about with the scout properties and how we need to get there. So, Lamont, if you don't mind, I know you stated, what are some other programs that you have that is not the usual programs that most lenders have? Because I really want people to see kind of, what makes you that it guy.
Well, I do have an in-house 2 different 100% FHA financing. That is the 96.5% with expanded eligibility income. We do partner that, and I do stack down payment assistance programs. So if I can find some money here, I'll try to give you as much as I possibly can. One of the beauties we also have is in-house underwriting, processing, and closing. So people say, well, what does that do? Your back office is what makes you eligible to be able to do the things that you have. So when you talk about what we do, well, we're JD Power's #1 in customer service in 2022. We're one of the top 10 lenders, and we're the oldest FHA lender of any institution lending in the country. We've been around since 1960. So we do one thing, which is home ownership and housing. I don't open credit cards. I don't do checking accounts. We put all of our resources together to be able to give you the best opportunity to purchase a home. So the whole organization is built for that. In the last 6 years, we have acquired 6 different mortgage companies. So we're continuing to expand as a nationwide lender. We do 49 states that we do cover. As far as programs are going, we're partnering with just about every housing. I have 36 different down payment assistance programs, including county level programs that I operate just in South Carolina. According to Forbes magazine, We're the number one first time lender. We're the best lender for first time home buyers. But the biggest thing that we do is we help you walk your path. Don't compare what grandmama did. Don't compare what daddy did. We're going to figure out what you did, what you were going to do, and put you in the right position. So it's the uh, hometown lending, but we're going to level you up. That's what I'm known as, the level up lender. I'm going to level you up from where you are. And that's my goal, is to help everybody get their piece of the pie.
And guys, just to let you know, he does do this. Lamont did our first home loan. And I remember when you mentioned about you need to get in the house. At this time, Carlos and I was trying to do all these things, my husband and I, and Lamont, he just talked to, he's like, hey, you need to get in the house. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it. This is where you need to go to get to it. And we did it, and we were getting keys in hand. And so when it comes to understanding the process, guiding you through the process, and letting you know how you can level up, like what he stated, he's number one with that. I mean, and I experienced it firsthand. Got a question from Instagram, and they said, sorry if they missed. Hey, it's not a problem, guys. If you have questions, if you're just joining on and you have questions, that's what we're here for. I got Lamont. And so if we could be able to get your questions answered, that's what we want to do. So the question was, Lamont, if you don't mind, what about your building programs, construction loans?
We do have a one-time construction to perm loan that allows you to be able to purchase the land, or if you have your own land, to build your custom built house. We do go up to the conventional financing, which in most counties is up to $800,000. The beauty is, on our program, we only require 5% down. But if you're using your land, you can use that as part of your equity, and as long as you've owned that land for at least 5 years. So, if you're interested in saying, all right, I've done that, I'm out of the house, I want to build, that is something else that we do offer. So we do offer construction loans.
And let me ask you this, because we have a lot of people who have purchased and have sat on their homes for a couple of years, and they got a lot of equity, because we talked about before, 11.11% is the average equity, appreciation here in South Carolina. How can they be able, can they be able to use that equity to help towards construction loans? Or even if you want to talk about that towards the next loan?
Absolutely. That is something that we can do. Is you have to take a look at overall. We'll look at a custom to determine how much equity you have in there. You talk about uniqueness. That is something that we do. Let's say that you need to sell said home, or you need to sell a home because you want to buy your next home. We do offer bridge loans, which allow you, if you have that equity into it, to take some of the equity out to be able to buy it. So you can almost write a non-contingent offer as long as you sell your house within 6 months. You got to pay off the bridge loan, use the equity from that. Let's just say that also you decide, I got a great rate. A lot of people, let me give you a number. 60% of all the houses in the United States have interest rates lower than 4% right now. So most people aren't wanting to move, but they have a ton of equity. You know what did go up? Credit card rates. Be a lot. What is it? Louis Vuitton eggs. The way these things are priced right now, you got to really look at.
I say Louis Vuitton eggs.
These eggs are about Louis Vuitton. So you have to look at, you have all this equity in your house, but you're like, I don't want to touch that 2 or 3% interest rate, but I got $300,000 in equity, or maybe even less. We do offer home equity loans, which is a fixed interest rate for at least 30 years, so that you can tap in 50,000, 60,000, 80,000. You want to buy that car, send the kids to school, use that type of financing in order to get that. Or if you want to say, I'm only want to stay here 3 more years, but in the meantime, it's hot in South Carolina, I want a pool, I want to add something, use that home equity loan. The beauty is it's a fixed interest rate and it's tax deductible. And we're not going to let you go all the way into equity of the house. So you're beautifying the house, or you're doing what you need for the kids, or you're taking that vacation, whatever you decide to do, or pay off those high interest credit cards. You now have to live. It's all about cash flow. It's not necessarily what you owe, it's what you can pay back each month. And that's where you have to survive today.
And that, guys, when you, and God forbid this, if you hit a financial hardship, hardship, that's what matters, that monthly debt, which
Oh
you
yeah.
have to pay month to month. And that's when these loans can also come in to kind of, I promise you, when you start seeing how money works and how you can utilize your assets, because that's what this house is. It's an asset, you know. So when you're talking about, I don't want to put all this money down, or I'm selling this house, I want to keep some of my money in my bank. No, put it down, because here's the thing, you're able to tap right back into these funds when you need to. And guess what? They've appreciated. They've appreciated. You can tap right back into it versus putting it in your bank. And guess what? You're going to spend it. You're going to spend it. You know, or you're only going to get what is it that credit union give, the dividends, the 0 point.
The 0.025, maybe you're lucky 1%. So
Yeah, I thought we just had a meeting. What is this?
exactly.
But these are the things that people don't think about when it comes to giving, you know, great information. And that's why I wanted to bring you on. And we're getting people to we had somebody laugh about the eggs in Louis Vuitton. I know. You gotta choose, you know, which one you gonna sell. Sell the
Well,
Louis
my
Vuitton.
next move, the way things are, is I got to buy a real chicken, not a dead one, because that is going to give me better value on return. So the reality is that, you know, life is going to change for us overall. You know, we are looking at how things are going to increase. And a lot of people say, well, things are going to go down. And if you look at where you are in your life, previous years, things have cost less money. If you're 30, you're 40, you're 5, it all costs less 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago. But you have to prepare for it. The one thing that's out gaining everything else is not stocks, it's real estate, because it's a simple math. The population expected to double in the next 10 years worldwide. If we don't have enough housing for the individuals today and the population doubles, economics says the value of a house is going to continue to grow. Because at the end of the day, unless you want to sleep in a tent, you're going to want to put your head somewhere. You don't have to have 3 cars. You don't have to have the latest purse, you know, but you got to find a place to lay your head and protect your family. So the biggest thing I could tell you to do is you don't have to have a million houses. Start with one. Just start somewhere that you call your own. That is the deed. That is the mortgage. That is get the house and then watch it grow. And then you make your moves and your strategy from the first one.
Guys, I promise you, when you do that first one and you see exactly what he's talking about, it all clicks when you start doing those things, because you don't realize it until you get into home ownership. I'll be honest, I purchased my home after I had been practicing real estate for the longest. For those of you who don't know, my background was in foreclosure. And then I honestly worked during that recession. And so I got into this field because I saw a lot of homeowners, what was happening. I wanted to help prevent that. But at the same time, if I'm being honest, I was a little scared because of what I had been seeing for years. But when I truly looked into and saw the value and got into it, I understand now. That's why, you know, I have to apologize to my family ahead of time that I'm always beating to them, get a home, get a home, get a home. It's not because hey, I'm trying to make mission of those things. It's, I truly see the value and how it benefits us and how you can begin building that wealth. You know, you might think, oh, I don't have any money in the bank. Let me tell you, so you do have money in the bank. It's in your house. You know, and like if you're able to leave something to your children, like investment properties, and you know, get you something small and have it to where your payments are low, and then rent it out. I mean, we're here in a college town. We've already given you major areas where they're building, they're bringing, and just to mention, at Scott Properties, they're also bringing these people are bringing their own school, guys. They're bringing charter schools. This whole area is going to grow in ways that we are not understanding. But it's a great thing if you understand the potential and the benefits of it and what you could be able to do. So if some of you all already have a house, he has investor loans that you could be able to do, like we said, second homes. We have people that look at our tunes in upstate from the Charleston area, guys, and in North Carolina areas. You need to be, this is what these tune-ins are about, gaining more knowledge of what we can be able to do to build wealth and get and understand the resources that are available for you. Do you got a couple, just 2 minutes for me, Lamont?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Can you talk about some of the programs that you may have in regards to investment loans, if you don't mind, second
I
homes?
absolutely was, because I was going to say, listen, let's talk about our self-employed. A lot of you don't want to, listen, I'm not the IRS, but theirs gets it, which means the IRS. And a lot of times we have people that don't show a lot of income, but have the cash and they want to move forward. They have the credit. We know they're going to pay their bills. Well, as an investor, we have what's called a DSCR loan, which is a debt service relationship loan. We will look at the cash flow. So if the rent on this house is $2,000, but the mortgage payment is $1,800, as long as the mortgage payment is below the estimated rent, the loan's approved, 20% down. And the beauty is, we don't look at the income. We're not looking at your debt to income ratio. It is strictly based on the debt service ratio, which is the debt versus the service of the income coming in. So that has been a super popular one. We also have bank statement loans. We know a lot of times that you may have a revenue source that's coming in, and you're once again not going the conventional route. These are still 30-year fixed mortgages. They're just a little bit different way of putting it together. So you can look at your bank statement. You may own a restaurant. You may own a hair salon. You may own a nail salon, a barber, but you have a lot of money coming in, but you're not showing it on taxes. There's the ability to do that. And then the key component is you got to have at least a 600 plus credit score. So as long as the credit's there and you've been making your payments on time, it's about cash flow. And I've seen a lot of investors are utilizing this because guess what? They know what's coming. I just got to hold on to it. Rents are expected, I hate to say
Yep.
this, to double in the next 5 years. So it's a true investment. I also have loan opportunities from 5 to 8 units. So if you have a multiplex, normally residential is known as anything from 1 to 4 units. That is something where I now have a resource and outlet where I can get it where it's 5 to 8. So if you see something that's 5 to 8, once again, another opportunity. So there are a lot of opportunities out there for your investors. And even let's say you're the landlord and you want to live and you want to buy a 1 to 4 unit, a duplex, triplex. The beauty is, as long as you live into one of the units, you can put as little as 3.5 to 5% down, and that's the cheat code. You get the other 3 units to pay for it, and you have no mortgage because somebody
Mm.
else is renting the other 3 units, and it covers your mortgage. You live in one of them.
So all you guys who have college students, go get a
Oh yeah.
4 unit. Go get look. Yeah, go get a 4 unit. Put your child in there. Hey, put your child in there because you're living in there, right? Right. Yeah, you're living in there.
Exactly.
And go ahead. There you go. And you rent out the rest of them. Or depending on how old the child is,
Put
can
them
I
on a
say
loan.
that? Can I say?
You
I was
get
just
put,
about to say, put them on the phone.
put them on a
There
loan.
were is their property, and then now
Mhm.
you could be able to rent that out. And not only that, guys, guess what you don't have? You don't have investor taxes. You can get regular taxes on
Right.
that too.
Absolutely. And you just set them up. So imagine going and you're 20 years old, 22 years old, and you come out of college, and now you have an investment property in a primary residence. The thing
Mm.
about now is you set your kids up, set them up, set the next generation up. So once you know this information, it's a value of, hey, how do I go ahead and do this? We're going to see things change in the future, but we got to be able to be prepared for the future today.
In other words, guys, when you have preparation, you don't have to be fearful of it. And that's the
No.
main thing. We're not going to be on these tune-ins speaking fear into home ownership, into wealth. It's still out there, it's being made. It's all about what do you plan to do today? And with that being said, I'm going to put your information up here so people can be able to. Oh my
Reach out.
goodness,
I'll
again.
do a free consultation. Let's take a look at your scenario. Please don't keep me a secret. Yeah.
I'm
Listen,
doing
my
it
job at
right
this
now.
point exactly is to and what you got to understand, I'll quote the great Denzel Washington. First third of your life, you're all about learning. Second third, you're about earning. And the last third is about returning. I'm at the point where I want to return. And so if I can return and give this information, it's going to help you because I want you to learn so then you can earn and you can do the same thing. We all got to be
Exactly.
in different stages and we just got to keep giving back.
And honestly, guys, that's how generational wealth starts too. You just
It
continue to
is.
pass it down, pass it down, and pass it down. You know, not just the money, but the knowledge of it, of how to continue to make more. And I'm glad, and I love doing these tune-ins, and that's one of the reasons. I was literally just talking to one of our friends, and they was like, Angela, you having to kind of program these things. And I think everybody that comes on, but it's all about getting the information out because I learn when I'm doing this. Like you gave me something to think about with my son that I got to talk. I'm gonna have to talk to you about like, hey, Lamont, what can I do to get exactly find this? Find this, get him in there because that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about what I can do, and I wish like the stuff I have, I can go back to the younger me and be able like, oh my gosh, if I knew this stuff now, where I would be at. But it's okay. I do have a younger version of me. I have children. I got a community. You know, I got nieces and nephews. And not only that, I have other people that I come in contact with that I could be able to share this with. And Lamont is a great teacher. That's one thing I always loved about him is that he'll sit down and give you ways of what you could do to do exactly what he stated, which was level up. Guys, it's awesome. Oh man. All right, Lamont, I will let you leave us with, oh, and somebody says, so the kids don't have to move back in with us. That's right,
That
Lydia.
part.
Oh my goodness. Yes, and that one too. They could be able to pass it down and not be able to have to move back in. But Lamont, if you have anything else that you would like to share with us or any tidbits, I'll open the floor for you to be able to do so now. And I'm
Sure.
going
I
to keep
appreciate.
your
Thank you. No, I appreciate the opportunity. I want you to look at it like this. There is no need to be fearful. What is done in the past is done, but the hardest step is the first step. And what you really want to look at is the gain, not the gap. So, how you gain in this scenario? Take time, understand where you are. Everybody's story is different, and I don't want you to compare because comparison is the thief of joy. So don't compare what somebody else did or when they did it. Let's walk your path. Let's develop your story and let's get it done.
yes. And at the end of the day, the story is going to end with you excelling. And it doesn't matter how long it takes either. A lot
It
of times
doesn't.
people get, I tell buyers all the time, hey, Lamont, you know what? You told me this. You told me that with me going through the buying process, I can be able to encourage other buyers. You told me that, because we were for those of you all who are self-employed, you know, it's a different scenarios when you're purchasing, and you know, we had to go through the scenarios to get where we want to be at. Could we have gotten what we wanted? Gotten something we could have, but we knew we wanted this, so we had to make this sacrifice to get there. And that's what people don't realize. It's still going to be a sacrifice. You're going to sacrifice at the beginning, or you're going to sacrifice what you
That's
want
right.
out of the process. And so it is. Everybody's journey is the same, but at the end of the day, you still end up on top. You end up on top with home ownership. You just cannot go wrong. Even for my people who've had to do short sales, and guys, I've done a lot of short sales. They still end up on top because they're able to. They didn't have to get foreclosed on. They able to purchase, and it still was something that they had at that time. Yes, people go through financial issues. It's unfortunate, but they still had a scenario that they still had an outcome that they can be able to accomplish, and still they did not. Oh, I should have never bought a home. I've never heard that from anybody that has gone through foreclosure and shorts that, oh, I should have never gotten this home. They were grateful for the time they had that home, and guess what?
Hmm.
They had another home. We ended up getting them another one.
We sure did.
And for those who don't know, if you saw my Tuesday tune in with Chris Good, the credit expert, this is the gentleman who introduced me to Chris. So when I tell you we have actually teams and we're all about assisting and passing the knowledge, that's what it's all about. And we got some comments of people let you know it was great information. Even I don't know if you were able to see it. It was somebody was giving us the amen. We have some agents on here. Betty is the agent. She says, awesome sauce. Thank you so much, Betty. Even Brandy, who's a great agent out here too as well. She said, hey, great information. Lamont, I just thank you so. Oh, let me put your information back up here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm the TV producer too at the same time. Oh, I thank you so much, Lamont, for coming on and giving your time and giving us the information. Guys, please go through and take Lamont's information. To the agents out there who are in the business, have clients, and you're like, I'm trying to figure out what to do, take down Lamont's information. Guys, you do not have to work with me in order to contact Lamont. I'm all about putting this information out there. But if you do not currently have an agent representing you and would like to speak with us and how we can assist, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'll put my information in there. But I want you to be able to get the info. Oh, we also had somebody else said very good info, and thank you so very much. Also, Lamont, I'd love to have an open invitation to come back should you ever have any information or you just want to talk to us about some of the processes. Please, you're going to welcome to come back. And I just thank you so very much for your time and everything. All right.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Angelina, from the bottom of my heart. To the people out there, this is us. This is you. Well, let's do it. We are here to help. Give us an opportunity.
Yes. And guys, I thank you so much also for your patience. The Tuesday tune-ins are back. I thank you for your patience and allowing me to get this started back up. It was a little hard this at the beginning of the year, but I've been having people ask me about it, and we're going to have a lot of great lineups for you all. Starting, we already have district manager from Phantom that was on earlier. She talked about buyers representation. We have Lamont, which is a great lender, and he has a great team too, guys. I just mentioned that works with him. So when he states that he has that in-house team, he truly does. And so I want you all to give him a call. Lamont, I thank you again so much. I'm going to be calling you because I need to talk to you about those units, sir. I will be calling you about some things because, hey, I'm telling you, you just sparked some things that was going on in my mind of what, like, I need to do these things. And guys, if you need information, please, it's located at the bottom. And if you missed any of this segment, you can be able to go to my YouTube channel, which is Deals with Angie on YouTube, and you can catch all the Tuesday tune-ins. You'll be able to see Lamont's photo along with his information. You can catch the whole entire segment you like to go to. All right. All right, Lamont. Well, thank you so very much. Guys, you have a great one and a blessed one. Thanks for joining us.